Okay, let's jump right in. Today in this explainer, we are diving into a really mind-bending piece by Dr. Othman Jealan Mohajami. We're going to unpack his profound reflections on how the universe, not just, our flawed human courts, actually balances its moral ledger. It's an incredibly compelling look into the idea of a self-correcting universe, and it's all told through the unique lens of a medical doctor observing the ailments and the ultimate fates of real people. Right in his foundational text, Divine Justice and Divine Decree, Lessons from the Medical Life Clinic, Dr. Jealan maps out this absolutely fascinating core concept. It's the idea that there is this automatic, completely infallible moral system at work in the world around us. So, we are going to objectively walk through his framework and the extraordinary real-world evidence he brings to the table to back it up. To really wrap our heads around this, Dr. Jealan kicks things off with a brilliant thought experiment. Imagine, if you will, a massive, futuristic megacity, home to over 1 billion people. Now, imagine this entire city is governed by a genius king who has somehow developed technology way, way beyond anything we can currently comprehend. Picture this. In this sci-fi city, invisible monitoring robots are tracking literally every single action. If someone steals, a machine instantly descends from the sky to carry out the exact punishment. If someone attacks another person, an automated system immediately inflicts the exact same pain right back onto the attacker. There are no slow human courts, no need for police. And because of this absolute, immediate certainty of consequence, crime simply ceases to exist. Zero crime. Nobody even dares to do wrong. Now, this whole futuristic city, it's the perfect metaphor to contrast our human systems with what Dr. Jealan sees as divine law. Because let's be real, human justice here on Earth is incredibly slow. It requires mountains of evidence, it's full of loopholes, and, as we all know, it can sometimes be manipulated by the wealthy or the powerful. But Dr. Jealan argues the universe operates on an unseen, automatic, and flawless heavenly system. According to his writings, you might be able to escape an earthly judge, but you absolutely cannot escape this automatic cosmic accounting. But here's the thing. Dr. Jealan doesn't just leave us in sci-fi land. He takes us straight into what he calls the clinic of life. He shares 3 very real, very raw anecdotes that he either witnessed directly or knew of personally. Let's take a look at the first one. So the first story is just steeped in this intense, almost terrifying irony. He describes a gang of 5 thieves who got caught completely red-handed. The earthly courts sentenced them to have a hand amputated. 4 of them actually faced the punishment, but the 5th thief, he was a wealthy guy, and he managed to use a massive bribe to wiggle his way out of the sentence. He really thought his money had saved him. But then, just a few months later, this same man contracted a severe, super rare bone disease in the fingers of both of his hands. His hands essentially became totally paralyzed. He paid an absolute fortune to save one hand from a human court, only for this automatic, universal system to render both of his hands entirely useless. And this kind of karmic echo plays out again in his second story. Imagine a timeline. Year 0. 2 friends get into a petty dispute, and one decides to severely terrorize the other by making a totally fake death threat. It causes the victim to live in absolute panic and fear for a while. Well, fast forward exactly 5 years. The circumstances flip, and the man who made that fake threat suddenly finds himself in a terrifying confrontation with an actual ruthless killer. He's forced to live in a state of dread that far, far exceeds what he put his friend through. It is literally what goes around comes around in real time. But it's the third story that really hits hard, probably because Dr. Jealan actually witnessed it with his own eyes. The scene is set in Hodeidah. Dr. Jealan and his cousin are visiting a friend, a young guy who's in the absolute prime of his youth, incredibly muscular, just physically imposing. As they're leaving town, they hop onto this small, run-down little bus, and it's being driven by a fragile, elderly man whose back is literally hunched over with age. So when it's time to pay the fare, a completely unnecessary disagreement blows up. The standard fare is 10 rials. The strong young friend who is paying on behalf of Dr. Jealan tries to bully the driver into accepting only 5. The old man respectfully declines and asks for the full 10. Well, the muscular youth just completely loses it. He becomes totally enraged, steps right up to this elderly driver, grabs him violently by the neck, and shakes him aggressively, all over a measly 5 rials. Dr. Jealan notes the sheer contrast here. This powerful youth physically assaulting a fragile old man who's just trying to earn a living for his family in a war-torn country. Completely defeated, and obviously physically outmatched, the old driver just raises his hand in this heartbreaking, silent resignation. He says, Enough. Enough, give it to me, sir. Give me the 5 reals. He doesn't try to fight back. He just takes the 5 reals, stares at them in this profound, sorrowful silence, starts up his rusted engine, and drives away. You can just feel the heavy emotional weight of that absolute surrender. Well, fast forward exactly 1 year later. Dr. Jealan goes back to Hodeidah and visits that same muscular friend, and he literally cannot believe his eyes. The young man had been struck by severe tuberculosis. His weight dropped by half, and that massive muscular frame had quite literally melted away, leaving almost nothing but skin clinging to bones. And tragically, just a few months after the shocking reunion, the young man passed away. Dr. Jealan frames this deeply tragic end not as some random medical bad luck, but as a direct, undeniable application of that automatic moral ledger, balancing the scales for the old bus driver. So all of this brings us to a core concept the author explicitly defines. He calls it the law of bad plotting. It's this idea that the universe is rigged like a hyper-precise machine. If you plot malice, harm, or betrayal against someone else, those invisible underlying systems ensure that your own weapons are turned right back toward your own chest. Interestingly enough, psychologists actually call the human desire for this kind of balance the just world hypothesis, but Dr. Jealan is arguing that this isn't just a psychological comfort blanket, it's a mechanical reality of the universe. Whoever digs a trap for another is inevitably going to fall into it themselves. And this idea cuts especially deep when it comes to the people closest to us. Dr. Jealan brings up this incredibly beautiful, deeply rooted Yemeni proverb: bread and salt remain. In this culture, sharing a meal, breaking bread and salt together, is considered a sacred, unbroken pact of peace. To betray someone after sharing food with them, that is the ultimate violation of trust. The author argues that betraying this specific bond triggers that automatic cosmic justice faster than almost anything else. Pulling all of this together, Dr. Jealan leaves his readers with a pretty stark warning. He really wants us to understand that power, influence, wealth, they're all just temporary illusions that cannot and will not shield you from this precise active system. Plus, he points out that betrayal doesn't just trigger cosmic consequences, it immediately degrades you in the eyes of society. Honestly, even the people who benefit from your betrayal will never, ever truly trust you again. As he wraps up these reflections, Dr. Jealan basically breaks the fourth wall. He speaks directly to anyone who might be scheming or plotting right now. He asks this huge rhetorical question: do you think the world is unguided? In Arabic, he asks, هل تظن أن الدنيا سائبة? Do you really believe that you can just pack your bags, plot your schemes, and harm someone without the universe stepping in to protect them and hold you accountable? If this automatic system of justice is actually real, if every action truly has a precise, undeniable cosmic reaction, it really forces us to stop and reflect on our own lives. So, looking at all this powerful evidence from the clinic of life, it leaves us with one massive question to close out this explainer. Will you seek forgiveness before it's too late?